Hello and welcome to the Engerati studio. I'm Rob Martin. I'm joined here by Martin Dunlea, the Utilities Strategy Lead EMEA for Oracle. Martin, welcome.
Thank you, Rob.
So you talk a lot about the connected customer. How much is the customer driving change and how much is the utility driving change?
I think most utilities you speak to now would say to you that it's probably a shared journey in terms of where utilities are going with their relationship. When we speak about the connected customer, what we're trying to present is the need for utilities to understand that the relationships they have with their customers is fundamentally changing. For many years, utilities have spoken about delivering quality service, engaging with customers, predominantly as consumers. We now know that many of the changes that utilities are working with are around connected customers that are transforming that relationship from consumers to prosumers. So as utilities continue to see an accelerated growth around technologies like rooftop solar, PV, growth in the number of EVs, residential purchases as pricing comes down around storage. These are creating opportunities for customers, but I think those distributed assets also create challenges for the utilities. And the concept we're speaking about is for the utilities to understand that because of these distributed resource growths, the connected relationship with your customers has to change. And so utilities that understand that, I think, understand the value that brings. They understand the opportunities in terms of developing new relationships, new type of business models, and more importantly, I think, new opportunities to deliver quality services and revenue opportunities. So it's a play on the idea that customers are now even more connected than they were in the past, bring significant opportunities, but challenges. And those utilities that understand that, I think, are making good headroom in terms of transforming that type of business relationship.
Okay, and you mentioned there about distributed energy. So talk to me about distributed energy resource management. What do you see evolving in that space?
So when we talk about distributed energy resource management, we're focusing very much beyond the traditional operation visibility or management that utility distribution companies have had heretofore. So utilities have been doing an excellent job for many years using traditional solutions like SCADA, more recently leveraging the capabilities and the smart intelligence of smart meters. But we are seeing increasingly a growth in the type of technologies and distributed energy resources beyond the meter. So the challenge for the utilities, the challenge they face are a number. First and foremost, how do you provide the technologies or solutions to give visibility and management of those distributed energy resources? How do you provide the capabilities to understand how those distributed energy resources are interacting with your traditional operational, safety and performance obligations that you have? And then most importantly, how do you take advantage of the fact that large numbers of distributed energy resources are now bringing at the edge of the grid new capabilities for distributed energy that utilities can take advantage of? And to my earlier point, to the benefit of both the customer and the utilities. So utilities are looking at community-based initiatives, how that can provide energy at a local level rather than transmit energy across large portions of the network, looking at how microgeneration can provide resilience and support at the community initiatives. And frankly, the growth in distributed energy resources has significant capital and business benefits to utilities. Can they manage the growth in renewables to offset more traditional centralized energy production? Can they make decisions around future capital investments? Can a dirty plant come offline sooner because of the growth in energy? So there are significant benefits in terms of understanding, managing and taking advantage of the growth in distributed energy.
There's a temptation to talk about Europe as if it's a country, and particularly at events such as this that cover Europe as a whole. As you've got a European remit, Do you see significant differences between the larger countries in Europe in terms of their progression with distributed energy?
We are seeing a number of differences, not in terms of, not significantly different in terms of their approach, maybe different certainly in terms of their scale. So I think it's well documented that a number of the European energy markets have stole a march in terms of significant residential growth in distributed energy and renewable energies. And I think many of those utilities, to their credit, have done a really, really good job understanding the value of those, understanding the operational challenges, and then taking advantage of those growth. We have seen in a number of European countries, UK, Spain, Germany, marked improvement in the way they manage renewable technologies, to the extent that we are seeing significantly more renewables being used on a daily basis, and I think in many cases providing significant more energy capacity and output that perhaps we even had predicted a number of years ago. So I think the technology, the changes that are happening, and the operational challenges are well understood. And in fact, when you look at what innovative European energy companies are doing compared to regions we are involved in other parts, they are every bit as innovative and every bit as creative in terms of managing distributed energy and the changes at the edge of the grid.
And as part of this wider energy transition, there's this creation of vast amounts of data, which in itself isn't useful. How do you turn that into something that is useful? How do you turn it into intelligence that utilities can action? What's your approach to that?
That's a very good question, and I think a very important byproduct of the digital transformation, the growth in smart devices, smart sensors, and the growth in renewable technologies, it is that, as you say, it is creating vast amount of new data. So utilities are now beginning to understand the challenges around volume and data variety. I think they're also beginning to understand that many of the processes required to continue to provide the operational resiliency on the back of large amounts of growth are not possible on the back of human processes or human interventions alone. So getting their heads around the data, understanding the smart intelligence and insight that comes off the data, and then using that data in near real time to provide future operational stability and operational changes. That's the challenge for utilities. So in some respects, the importance of data as a currency to manage their energy challenges in the future, I think, is becoming more relevant and more understood by utilities. And it also has another important role, I think. Utilities have done an incredibly good job managing heterogeneous environments for many years, siloed business environments, often underpinned by individual applications with siloed data marts, etc. Enterprise data analytics is a great way to overcome some of the operational challenges around providing that level of integration. And data as a common currency now starts to provide utilities with a common view from their customer, through their operations, through their smart metering program, up through their asset lifecycle management, and all the way up to the complex management of their networks. Data is the common currency, and I think those utilities that understand the value are doing a really good job transforming.
Absolutely, and Oracle's got plenty more where that came from. We're going to have to leave it here. Martin, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us, and remember that there are more video interviews available on the Engerati YouTube channel.